Hi everyone, I'm Ali Greymond. Today we're answering questions about OCD recovery. And first question I have is, hi Ali, how can you stop the thoughts from returning? And in terms of stopping the thoughts from returning, you know, if you're talking about just daily, the thoughts are coming back over and over again. See, the way OCD works, the way the mind works is every time you are reacting to something, doesn't matter what it is, every time you're getting a thought and you're taking it seriously, you're coming from a position of fear, you're scared of it, you're trying to protect yourself, your mind puts it in the category of important. And this is something that obviously, if you're protecting yourself, it means that it's dangerous somehow. So, because your mind has now put a flag on it, so to speak, that it's dangerous, it's trying to bring it to your attention so you protect yourself. That's why it's bringing thoughts over and over again. It's not like it's against you or it's trying to make you feel bad. It's just trying to protect you. It's a protection mechanism that works well in real life stuff, but because it's a mechanism, it doesn't really understand which thoughts are valid and which are not. As long as you react to a thought, it's going to bring it back. So I thought about red balloon, fine. I thought about clowns being scary, fine. It's going to bring back whatever you react to, and this is when people get stuck and develop OCD. So how can you prevent the thoughts from returning? Stop reacting to them now. The reason why they're coming back now is because this mechanism is looking to the past, right? In the past, you've reacted. So if in the past you reacted with fear, it needs to bring it up now because there's that flag kind of on it, right? But if you refuse to react with fear now, then in the future, it's going to unmark it, basically. So what you want to do is you want to say, okay, I see the thought coming in, I see the automatic fear coming in, but I'm not going to engage in it. I'm going to step over the fear and refuse reaction. So it's not like there is no fear. It's not like you don't feel bad. You feel bad, but you're viewing it as part of a symptom. So you're saying, yeah, this is the situation, the fear, guilt, whatever thoughts, this is all symptoms of OCD. I'm going to choose to view it as symptoms. I'm not going to choose to view it as real, and I'm going to choose to let it go. And then you make a point to let it go. So by refocusing, if you can't, when you make a point to let it go, it's still going to swirl in your mind and try to get you in some way. So it is still going to be there, but as much as possible throughout the day, you have to focus on something else. With this, also delaying works, right? So you're delaying analyzing or doing a rituals, or say I'm going to do the ritual tomorrow, or I'm going to do it, say if you can't wait till tomorrow, maybe say 2 hours from now. But as much as possible, showing your mind that this is no longer important. I'm in control, not OCD is in control. Do you know what I mean? Like showing that you're coming from a position of power. Because if you're coming from a position of power, that sends a message that you're no longer in danger, and that sends a message that this thought is no longer important, and the mind will stop sending it to you. So the reason why the thoughts are coming back is your reaction now. You change your reaction now. For a while, they're still going to come back. Actually, not to go into a long explanation here, but I think it's important for people who are watching, who are new, or listening rather, who are new, that uh, that first, if you think about, just logically how that would work. So you were reacting all this time, then all of a sudden you stopped. You stopped reacting to something that your mind is viewing as dangerous and viewed as dangerous for a significant period of time. What is your mind's next move? What can it possibly do? Well, it can bring you more thoughts, scarier thoughts, to try to scare you back into protecting yourself. And again, this is all a protection mechanism that does it. It's not because your mind is trying to, work against you. It's just trying to get you back into protecting yourself by any means necessary. So the thoughts can feel more real. It can start bringing the thoughts up in the OCD stuff up in your sleep. It can start giving you images. All of these types of things are very, very common, and again, it's just your mind trying to protect you. So that first little period, it's important for you to keep strong, because with OCD recovery, you have to be the strongest in the very beginning. It's just very important to stay on task. Right now, you have to disregard the thoughts. And in a broader sense, you also have to show your mind that everything is okay. Rose colored glasses, everything is okay. Kind of like that, that everything is okay in every aspect of your life and there's no danger of any kind. And it is kind of like you're faking it, but it's okay. It's just this is what needs to be done to reprogram the mind. After a while of this kind of intense bringing any possible thought to get you back into reaction, to scare you back into reaction, the mind will start working with you rather than against you. So it will see over time that, okay, I've sent the scariest thought, still there was no reaction, maybe the danger has passed, and the thoughts will start to ease off. But until that happens, you have to be very strong, very vigilant. This period will end, and it works the same for everyone. It doesn't matter what kind of OCD you have, it works the same way. So you just have to understand that this is just a symptom, this is just how the mechanism works, and you have to do the work to recover. There's no other way. There's nothing magical here. I can tell you that, like I've been saying all this time, right, that most of my clients recover because most of my clients do the work day after day, no matter how hard it is. And people fall and kind of have hard days where they did go back and check or analyze, but most of the time going forward, I would say for successful recovery that's good, on time, not too slow, I would say 80 to 20% would be good. So 80% you're disregarding, you're not doing whether physical or mental rituals, you're disregarding it all. And 20%, okay, things happen, we're not robots, right? But maintaining that 80% good, average throughout the day. I think that's that would be where I usually, because of course I want them to do 100%. I want everybody to do 100%, but it's just not possible. And I can tell you, when I was recovering, firsthand experience here, right, that it's very difficult. But doing as much as you can and not looking too far forward. So not kind of thinking and worrying about the fact of, well, when am I going to recover? Well, how long is this going to take? But rather focusing on right now, in this very moment, where are my thoughts? Are they on OCD or not? Am I showing the mind that I'm in power? Am I showing the mind that everything is okay through my actions, through the way I'm handling things? If not, then switch it. And that switch after switch after switch is what gets you to recovered. Because if you start to get into this kind of panic, depressed mode of, overall situation that you're in, of course it's an unhappy situation, right? But showing that to your mind is not productive, because even though you're not kind of showing that you're in danger, you're still showing that there's something wrong. So you have to watch in all of life situation, even when it comes to the recovery itself, that everything's okay, I'm on task. Even if you had a bad day and you failed and you did a lot of reassurance, okay, I'll get back on track now, everything is okay. Really drumming into your mind that everything is okay. You don't need to send me the thoughts, but saying it from a position of power, not that, please don't send me thoughts, don't do that. Say, forget it, I'm done with this, I'm not playing this game, from a position of power, saying it strongly. So I kind of went a little bit, covering a lot of different topics with this question, but I think it's just important to get an overview, especially for people who are new and really don't understand how OCD works. But yeah, to answer in short, the question is, this is how you stop the thoughts from returning. Do all this that I said, thoughts won't come back. It's an unplugging process. So what you will see after that initial period of your mind sending you a lot of thoughts, that it will be less and less. So first you'll get a thought a million times a day. Then you'll get a thought maybe once a day, then once every 2 days, then once every week, then once every month, then once every few months, and then it will unplug fully and you won't get any more thoughts. But it's good to watch this channel, other OCD channels, where we're talking about different types of themes. So just in case you get a weird thought at some point in the future, you're not going to fall for it again. You know what I mean? Because I feel that a lot of the times this is where medical professionals fail, is that they're not teaching the people how OCD works and also different themes that OCD can have. So if a person gets another thought that's way out of their character, they start to react with fear. But if you're prepared and you know, okay, this is because it only goes with a certain amount of themes, right? So if you are aware of these themes, then you are in a much better chance, you know. But I think that after 6 months of not having any OCD thoughts, you're pretty much in the clear. Unless the only way that you can potentially get an OCD thought is if something really really stressful happens in your life, and to watching stress levels. Everybody who I've talked to who had OCD, and I mean, you know how much experience they have with this. Everybody who I've talked to, I don't want to say everybody because there's that maybe that one person, but okay, let's say 99% of people have been from birth very sensitive people. So even before they developed OCD, as a kid, they were a very sensitive kid. So you have to kind of keep that in mind, that you know how you handle stress is important, and this is where stress management, not taking on too much, easing into things, doing meditation, all of that really helps. So just keep that in mind as you are going through recovery, because the OCD is stressful, recovery process is stressful, so somewhere you have to give your mind enough room to recover. So sleeping more, doing meditation, you need to help your mind get through this, because it's kind of like your mind has a wound and you need to help it heal. So by not picking at it, you're helping it heal, but also speeding up the process of helping it heal by not stressing yourself out. So next question is, hi Ali, I recently made a big mistake and I'm ruminating about it and scared of the consequences, and that's what if happens, and that I need your advice. Thank you for amazing videos. Okay, so you're very welcome. And so in terms of the ruminating, you have to choose to do the work. Okay, there's no easy way around it. The more you ruminate, the more real it's going to feel, the more scared you're going to get. So you have to step over this fear and say, I'm going to take a chance, and it will feel kind of like I was saying, like jumping out of an airplane with a parachute. The parachute, will it open? Will it not open? Well, I promise you, it will open. I've never had it not open in all the years I've spent doing this. Okay, so you're not going to be the first one. It will open. It feels real for everyone. If OCD didn't feel real, then nobody would have it, because people would be able to see through it. But it feels real for everyone. It feels very real, and that's why people get stuck. So you're not the only one dealing with this, but to get out of it, you need to do the work. So being tough with yourself, and if you can't stop yourself from ruminating, then delaying it, saying, okay, you know what, I'm just going to wait a little bit, and then I'll do it. So say like the next morning, and by the next morning you might feel like you don't need to, and then you can delay more. So just doing that as much as possible. Next question is, hi Ali, as someone with sexual orientation OCD, I sometimes obsess about finding a partner in the future and telling them that I've suffered from this type of OCD I currently have, and then them leaving me for it or freaking out. Do you think that it's harder for people with OCD to maintain relationships and marriages? I think you're approaching this as like worrying about the future and telling your future partner sounds to me like it could be an OCD theme in itself. Um, so you have to watch it that right now this is not an issue, right? This is make believe sometime in the future situation. So when you actually get to that situation, you will figure it out. But right now, you're not showing fear to your brain. You're not reacting. You're not analyzing how this would happen. You're not analyzing what you would say. You're just leaving it alone, letting it have place in your mind, but you're not going and picking at it and trying to figure it out, because to me, that whole question sounds like an OCD theme. In terms of finding it harder for people with OCD to maintain relationships and marriages, it's harder when your OCD surrounds relationships. When you have relationship OCD, it's definitely harder in some way, right? The relationship type of OCD. If you have OCD that's not related to a relationship, and it's just it's hard because you have to do things a certain way, you're always asking your partner this or that. I would say the less you involve other people in your OCD, the better. I know it's you know when people get married, it's, people say, for better or for worse. But, in practice, and again, in years of practice, I can tell you that OCD generally is very destructive to relationships, because a partner without OCD will not understand what you're going through. They just it just that they don't understand. Do you know what I mean? They haven't experienced it and they don't understand. And it doesn't make them, good or bad. It's just they just don't understand. Um, I find that even people with OCD don't understand other people's OCD. Never mind a person who's never even experienced it at all. So, just do the work, do the recovery work, and you will recover, and this will no longer be an issue between two people. Do you know what I mean? Because this is nothing permanent. It will only be permanent if you keep doing compulsions, if you keep doing rituals. But yeah, I would say talking as little as possible about it's beneficial for the relationship, and it's beneficial for OCD recovery as well, because the more you bring it up, the situation, the fears, or even the fact that you have OCD, the stronger it becomes, and we want it to become weaker. Next question is, when I had a bad thought or something related to religious, to feel, okay, so the person says that they feel guilty and beg pardon for this. I know that I did a thought which was not appropriate for me. Begging pardon for something wrong is part religion. So how can I forgive myself for this? Okay, so so you're doing, whenever you beg pardon, you're doing that's a compulsion. Okay, so the more compulsions you do, the worse it's gonna get. So for religious OCD specifically, I'm not sure what part of what religion, like what is your religion, but even in most religions they say that God knows everything, right? So that can be a little bit of reassurance that you can hold on to, right? But from there you actually have to do the work. So God understands that you have OCD, you do in fact have OCD, and you have to start refusing to do all this stuff, because doing begging pardon is more of an OCD action than anything to actually do with religion. You're just trying to alleviate anxiety, and the more you alleviate anxiety, the more you show your mind that you're scared of this, the more thoughts you're going to get. You stop doing the pardon stuff, the mind, and stop reacting with fear in general to this stuff. Like, this is just an automatic thought that is going into your brain. This is not your fault. You have no control over it, and you have to stop reacting to it with fear. It's just blah blah blah. It's happening around you. It's not something that you're doing, So just being very focused on that. But this is a very common situation when it comes to religious OCD. Next question is, does ruminating about the fact that I have OCD and feeling sad for myself because of it also sends a signal to the brain and thus makes OCD stronger? Yes, that's exactly what I was talking about. Yes, it does. Does it count as ruminating? I find that it does. I mean, it depends on the level that you're doing it, right? So I think that obviously being in this situation, it's not a happy situation, right? So of course you're going to feel a little bit depressed, a little bit sad about it, but trying to kind of step over it and say, you know what, who cares, everybody goes through difficult situations, I'll recover from this. So seeing the glass as half full even in this difficult situation, and kind of forcing yourself to do so, because naturally, of course, how could you feel good in this situation? But it's important for brain recovery to push that message. Like when I'm with my friends and I can't help but think about how I feel and how lucky they are because they don't have OCD. The thing is, when I don't have an intrusive thought, I still feel uncomfortable, and then I need to think about my situation. So yes, you will still feel uncomfortable. You absolutely cannot think about your situation. Also ask myself, why did I overreact to the thought which I know I had before and then I didn't pay attention to? I know you can say, that it's because I was stressed that time, and even before I had OCD, if I was stressed and I didn't get stuck on the thought. Thank you for your help. Okay, so it's, try not to ruminate on it. Why did you overreact? Could be a million reasons, and then the thought came back, and you got scared again, and you got scared again, and then you got stuck. That's what happens to everybody who has OCD. It starts with a little thought and then it just keeps going, we can ask the same thing about when I was recovering or anybody else. It's just, the kind of situation worked out in a way that you got caught up in the thought. You got scared of it, and that's what made it stuck. Look, see, next comment. Thank you very much, Ali. Using your method, I am almost recovered from a very bad Puro. I'm, like you can see these comments under my videos. It really works. Just do the work and it will work. But if you keep doing compulsions, if you keep doing reassurances, it will keep going. It's one of those things. OCD tends to get worse over time if you're not working on it. It doesn't get better. I mean, it can go from theme to theme, so it kind of seems to the person that it gets better, that say for example the person was stuck on one thought, and then it goes, because something changed in their life, they go to another thought. That happens, but that's not recovery. That's just it. In the sense, you did do the right thing by not paying attention to the thought, but that's because you're paying attention to another thought. So you can see even in that way that the mechanism still works. So, when you do this, right, it still switches away from the thought, but you just don't want to switch to another thought, and that's what you have to be very conscious of. So I hope you guys find these talks helpful. I am going to continue to answer questions. Sorry for the irregularity of the videos. I am working on it, and I am getting back on track. We all have work to do, basically, is what I'm saying. So I will get back on track with the videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to do the recovery program with me, the information is, as always, on youhaveocd.com. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.